Regarding CCP and Cleveland Cotton Products, when the Weisskopfs owned the company, and I started in 72, they were willing to take us on some very exotic trips.
First trip, they went to Florida, and I hadn't been with them long enough to go. So the second trip, we went to Las Vegas. And that was the first time Judy and I really been to any place like that.
Some of the trips that the company went on, and before me, they went to San Juan, they went to Las Vegas, they went to Madrid. When I came on board, the three big trips that I went on were Rome, Paris, and London. And the sales force looked so forward to these trips.
Puerto Rico was great. Then Spain was. Then we went to Paris after that. And that was a totally unforgettable trip because they rented the Eiffel Tower out. You see that restaurant right on the bottom? That's the menu. Now you see the tower there? Mm-hmm. On the bottom of it is the restaurant, that big square. That's where we were. And Dick and Bob rented that entire thing out for New Year's Eve night. No one else was in that restaurant. It was about 230 of us there. And they hired Victor Borga, the comedian pianist, to come from New York to perform for us right there that night. Marvelous. Gosh, it was fun.
This one, you have a note from the Abbaye de Chalais. It says, last evening in France at a country estate catered and fireworks show.
And at the tender age of 22, went on a 10-day trip with my wife to Paris, France, and got to see the French culture and the burlesque shows that they had that were real popular back in the 70s.
And then they went to England, and that's where I met Winston Churchill's grandson at Blenheim Palace. That's it right there. Yep, you got it. That's pictures of all that. And that's his grandson right there in the middle.
We got Grosvenor House in London, England, and got to see the changing of the guard, and the Windsor Castle, where the royal family had a wedding just 2 years ago. We ate dinner in the library, the same place that the royal family had this wedding celebration.
At Blenheim Palace, they had never catered a meal for a company, ever. That was the first time. And Bob and Dick paid enormous amount of money to have the lights out there when we arrived, all lit up the whole front. But the last trip was Rome, and we didn't make that one. I got sick. Can you believe that? And we couldn't go. And Dick took his barber with him. So the barber and his wife were able to go to Rome, Italy, and have a wonderful trip.
One of our area managers or sales reps got sick the day of the trip. They were getting their hair cut at their usual hairstylist, and they turned around and they asked him, hey, we have an opening for a trip to Rome for you and your wife if you want to come, but you have to be at the airport in 2 hours. Guess what? He and his wife were at the airport in 2 hours, and arrangements were made to have the kids taken care of.
The next trip went to Spain, which we just really loved that. Jerry Nagel was our representative in Florida, just a humorous, a terrific guy. He was telling the story about Don Otto, because when we got to Spain, we met everybody, and we noticed Don was there, and his mouth was kind of like this. And I said, my goodness. Well, Jerry was telling the story. What happened, Don had false teeth, Otto. 3 days before the trip, he was working and driving down the road, and he had to sneeze, and he opened the window to sneeze, blew his teeth out in the street. And then backing up to get him, he ran over. And he didn't have any teeth. So he had a time.
We had managers meetings, usually 2 a year, in places, different cities down in Florida. We've gone to Jamaica, we've gone to Mexico. These were all things to really look forward to with the company. And the people really put out to get to these things. This was something you really look for. We currently have the President's Club, which people strive for. You make goal and you're invited along the President's Club. Well, the front runner of that was the senior sales meetings that the company used to have.
So I find our President's Club trips the most memorable. And one story that is an awesome story to me is we were on a catamaran And Tim Klein and Tom Friedel got tied together on the catamaran and had to do some sort of a dance type thing. It was just a great time. All the President's Club trips are great, and there's so many good memories. It's just that one always sticks out in my head, seeing those two tied together on probably the best catamaran we were ever on.
We always go snorkeling in a catamaran, and I have a tendency to go off on my own when I'm snorkeling. And I was out away from the boat and everyone else, and I came across an 8-foot bull shark, which was kind of unique and scary.
So Cleveland Cotton Products shaped me to look farther ahead, broaden my opportunities, broaden my horizons, and having the confidence to take us on a trip like that at that young age really made an impression on me that I can go farther in life if I want to.
They found different ways to invite people, and I still have the record that they sent to everybody, inviting them ones along on the Rome trip. And it was just different to get that. It was very interesting. So this is just what they would do. This is the type of people, and it was just an absolutely phenomenal place. There were so many other different stories.
That's how they did trips. They not only took you to Puerto Rico, now you go down and get on a seaplane and fly to the Virgin Islands for the day at a restaurant. That's the kind of people they were.
This one's from the Bahamas that you have, and it sure looks like a lot of familiar faces.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that's well after Bob and Dick there. That's Larry Wymore, and there's Jack Levine, a whole bunch of folks. Yep. That was a fun trip.